Young and Restless has a real issue with long, boring, and unnecessary conversations that needs to be addressed. Scenes are giving filler vibes way too often. That said, this week we had some drama, thanks to Jordan and Ian, but there was at least one major plot point that we just weren't buying. As tired as we all became of Cameron and his bloody shirt, it was undeniably fun having him reappear this week with Sharon in peril. Cameron. I don't know, Sharon. You got skinny little wrists. Why don't you try some spit and some muscle, and see if you can wiggle out of that thing? He wasn't a whole lot of help. But he did conveniently leave a black crowbar laying around with her reach when he left. I'm not sure the story will be as gripping if she frees herself, but I'm here for the ride. That said, some things just don't make sense. Like Jordan being able to heft Sharon's unconscious body in and out of her car, the motel, and the sewers on her own. And finally we got to see Damien, and man is he easy on the eyes. They're trying to write him as mysterious, but many fans were just dazed and confused by all that Monte Cristo dialogue. By week's end, we were all thinking what Audra told Nate. Just get on with it and tell him who you are. That said, I'm interested to see how Damien's going to fit into Geno City, and who they'll be hooked up with. In related, it's been nice to see a softer side of Audra. There are way too many long, unnecessary conversations happening on Young and Restless these days. Who needed half of an entire episode of Lily and Abby worrying to Devon about Nate possibly hiring Damien, or Jack and Diane rehashing their recent past with Kyle? Chelsea drumming on with advice to Billy that will fall on deaf ears? Keep it. In fact, unless something drastically different is going to happen in this time around, Billy needs a backburner moment. It's been too long with the whining and man pain with nothing changing. All of his storylines in recent years have had the same script, just different scene partners. As for the preview with Adam trying to get Chelsea to move in with him, his guilt has convinced him that getting back with his ex is what's best for Connor, and his appeal seems to reveal that. This explains the lack of romantic energy, but doesn't bode well if we have to watch weeks/months of them cohabitating. Please don't base an entire plot around Tessa being snowed by Ian Ward, because it's just too unbelievable. Maria's wife is one of the most street-savvy characters on the canvas, and even if she wasn't, she's one of the most loyal. Once Maria told her who Ian was and what he did to her and Nikki, she'd hate him instantly and become protective of her wife. The dumbed-down, wide-eyed, "But he saved my life," is not cutting it because it's so obvious Ian caused Tessa's out-of-the-blue breathing crisis in the first place. Why else would he have been standing outside the door waiting and conveniently carrying an inhaler? Come on. Claire's already onto Jordan and crosses paths with her again in the preview. But it seems to me that if Victor's men are watching Ian Ward and his motel room, they are the ones who will identify her first. It's not like they don't know who she is in her history with Victor. If nothing else, it'd alert him that Ian's not alone, right? It's not the only thing that doesn't add up in this story. I have some issues with Nick. It just doesn't make sense that he tried to convince Faith that Sharon had failed to show up for New Year's because she decided to take some time for herself. After the rant he went on a week ago about her being in danger from the real killer, not to mention Ian showing up, I don't think that's where his mind would go. Make it make sense. When Sharon's car was found in the river, Nick finally snapped out of it and went all caveman as he confronted Ian at the motel. Was there anything funnier this week than Ian grabbing the Bible before answering the door? But if Nick thought Ian was responsible for Sharon's disappearance, why wouldn't he have searched the room and checked behind the closed door? I guess it would have moved the story along too quickly if he had discovered Jordan. You just have to laugh. Claire's not the only one who's had a bit of a makeover. Can we talk about Nikki's new look? I was kinda partial to her softer hairstyle, but it was her outfit that garnered all the attention this week. In the last rant I suggested they were styling her more like Catherine now that she's taken over Chancellor, but fans were getting a totally different vibe from her black and gold pantsuit. Janet Jackson, Moira Rose, they're not wrong.